Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US tech stocks, and we'll start with the NASDAQ. We'll have a quick look at the S&P as well. Most of the markets are doing the same thing. So when we look at, let's just have a quick look at one of the big tech stocks here. Google's got quite a nice count. So we're on a 15-minute chart with Google. We're at that low point down the bottom here. In a nutshell, we can see that we're looking at wave 1 and 2 here, going up for wave 3, and if we get wave 4 and then we get wave 5, then we're going to have an A wave, a B wave and a C wave correction, and then we're simply going to be going up for another 5 waves to the upside. Okay, so that's pretty much the pattern amongst well, pretty much all the markets actually. So yeah, so that's it really. So the main question is that do we look at this as wave A up here, wave B here, and wave C? Because we get, as I mentioned, because we get 5 waves in this first leg here, that means that after correction we'll get another 5 waves. So coming back to the NASDAQ here, let's just map this out here. Let's just say we'll look at this in the next video a bit more, the detail on this, but wave 4 here and then wave 5 here, so that will make 5 waves to the upside. So if we get that, because we may just get 3 up here, right? So if we get 3 up here, let's just shoot the breeze here for a moment. That could be an A wave, a B wave here and a C wave here. Okay, so an A, B, C up to this point, and then we come down from that point. That's quite possible. So I don't think it's the case based on the structure, because the structure here for the third wave, is really quite strong. In there's a lot of stories behind that, but yeah. So, but in the meantime, it does appear that we will get. It looks, it's a strong case that we'll get 5 waves to the upside. And then we'll get, once we've got 5 waves, then we'll get an ABC pattern here, some sort of corrective move, and then we'll have another 5 waves up. So that much we can be assured of. The question is though, is this wave A here, is that a wave A, or is it wave 1? And if it is a wave 1, well then it would make this a wave 2 here. So we need to be prepared about this. I mean, before we started our long trade to the upside here, what we were going to do was trade up, then get out, and then what we're going to do is look to go long over this side over here, because then that will cover us. So even though I don't know what the big account is, at least we can make money. The first rule in trading is to make money. Second is not to lose any. So in the bigger picture, I mean, we've got two bullish counts and 1 bearish count. So just what I'm going to do today is I'm going to have a look at the situation with, we're looking at wave A here, but we also need to look at the possibility of a wave 1 up here as well, and wave 2 to come back. So let's just go to the weekly chart here, I guess. That will do the job. So this would be for the NASDAQ. The S&P came down a little bit further, but still the S&P didn't break any rules either. So we've had this count here before. This was our original count. So because of the strong move pushing up, and not only the strong move pushing up, the stocks like Meta, the strong ones like Meta and Microsoft, the AI stocks have got, well, Google fell out of bed, but the other ones have held up quite nicely. So they could quite easily make new highs, and then would have to label them in this particular way here. So a 5-wave structure to the upside. It may or may not be the case. All I'm saying is that, this move up here is appearing to be 5 waves. So when it pulls back, it could be looking at being wave B will be conservative, but it could be wave 1. If it's wave 1, well, then we're going to go up for wave 3. So we definitely need to be on that move. Okay. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about this wave 4. We're going to start, when we look at our stocks today, we're going to look at all of them as wave 4. Now, they all fit as wave 4 except for Tesla. Okay, so and we'll look at the bearish count and we'll look at the bullish count because it's Monday and we can sort of get a bit of a setting for the week. So for the S&P here, just off the low here, we're also looking for 5 waves up. We've got a long trade here. We've got the stop down here. We look to take some money off the table here. You want to take the rest of it at 4.4 there. The market will be a little bit stretched at that stage. And you can see here that we've got the beginning of the trend and the middle of the trend, nice big third wave here. So we don't have the 4s and 5s in here yet. But once again, we've got this as wave A here. Could we look at it as wave 1? It's not going to make any difference, even though that the bigger picture could be a couple of different counts, right? It doesn't really matter because all we're going to be doing is we're going to be going, after we get this correction here, classic trading levels pattern at 4.4, we'll be looking to go long over this side. It's as simple as that. So we'll make money. It's just... and it's okay to have different counts on the table, to have a look at them all. So this is obviously Apple, and as a wave 4 here, Apple hasn't broken any rules by taking this low out here, so it's still quite valid here. It had its earnings and it's had a sharp move down. It's basically recovered a lot, so we can stay on track with our count. So, yeah, I mean, this is one way to look at it. So, we need to be prepared if this is going to go up here and make wave 5 up here and so on. So this little leg here can be counted in different ways. I understand that, and we have been looking at it in different ways. We could also look at it in another bullish way that we have been looking at it, and that would be putting wave 1 over here with this, and then looking at this as we're looking at most markets with, I'll just draw it out as an ABC pattern here, and then coming down for wave C here. Now there's a good case for this because there's markets like, weaker markets like the Russell, it's got a very clean, clear 5 waves down here. Sure, we can go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, but there is overlap there, and, it is a pullback, so, it can be corrective. And as a corrective pattern, you can label it in a couple of different ways. We can look at that, but, the move up here is an A and a B and C. We need to look at all stocks and the S&P and the NASDAQ like that as well. So, yeah, if this is going to be wave 1 where the A wave is over here, then this wave C is going to be on much more of an angle. It's very common to have the wave A moving up quite sharply. And it has moved up quite sharply. There was short covering on the bonds, so... yes, people starting to cover on. Still, a lot of shorts on that side of the market, and the yields are still to the upside. But you'll see that the bonds and the stocks are all actually moving together now quite nicely. Perhaps we'll look at that when we do the indices or something. But on an intraday basis, it's difficult to tell. On an hourly chart or 15-minute chart, it's difficult to tell between. It's just exactly the same pattern as the bonds. So let's, and the other count here, of course, is the 2-day count. So even though we've got different counts here, this is looking at a top here and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down here as 1 and ABC back for 2. And this could also be a larger triangle pattern happening here because, as I mentioned, this particular move here can be counted in different ways. So, yeah, we'll just see, it doesn't stop us, with all of these markets, it doesn't really stop us sort of making money. We just need to enter at the right time, and that's really what we've been doing. So based on that, let's just go to the 1,000 ticks and the 100 ticks. That's what we'll be looking at most of the stocks on. So this obviously, because of the spike down here, it also has it. Well, I suppose it depends on which platform you look on, because I can see on some platforms this wave 4 has nipped out wave 1 here. So we'd need to look at that a little bit differently in that case. But in a nutshell, when we think about the NASDAQ and the S&P, we're looking for you know, this on the S&P and the NASDAQ, we're looking for this wave 3 top here and this wave 4. So because of the earnings here, we could say that it, you know, it's kind of, because you've got to kind of tune them in a little bit. We've either got that, or we need to put the A wave here and the B wave here. It's something like that, you know. And we could even put the B wave over here as well for this. Realistically, you know, we could see this go up further and then come for a B wave and then push up here. So yeah, it's still on track to, it will move with the rest of the markets. That's the main point with it all, I guess. So Apple's a little bit of a tricky one to to count in terms of our trade on this and so on. We had a couple of things here. We'll just go through the wave count a little bit further. Now, this particular charting program, it's a little bit, you know, you can count it like this, it's a little bit different, but when we look at TradingView, it's got a slightly different count on here. If I go from 15 minutes, I kind of like 2 minutes if I'm looking at stock here. So in this case, I think I've lost one of my things here. Okay, anyway, it's got a much nicer sort of move, an impulsy wave to the move to the upside, and a 3-wave move to the downside. So you can count them a little bit differently. I could probably put another wave 1 over here for this as well. But anyway, the main point here is that this is still giving me impulse waves to the upside. So we'll still see it continue to move to the upside for a while, okay? So that's the main point. You can see little 5 waves in here and a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So all I'm just saying is that different charting programs will show you a slightly different picture depending the aftermarket move and all the rest of it. So basically we had 2 things with our trade here. We had, we're long here. We talked about getting out at 177, and if you haven't gotten out there, you can get out at the 180 at that point. So we can move the stop over to here on this. We could probably, yeah, I'll just leave it there for the day anyway, because I do believe it will, you know, continue to move to the upside with the other markets. All I don't know in this instance, until I see more price action, I don't know if I need to call this the wave A up here. And if I did that, then I would need to look at it slightly differently, in that I would need to, because it's difficult to get 5, I'd have to look at it as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave to the upside. So an A, B, C to the upside as wave A, and then wave B coming down here. And then we'll sort of see how this goes. But the rest of the markets, you know, we're kind of seeing them that they will move up further, have a correction, and then move up here, and then have another correction as well. So we definitely want to be out of this 180 over here if you're still in this market, okay? I know that was a bit traumatic to go through, but yeah, that's sort of where we are with Apple. So it's a bit of a tricky one to get your head around, that one, I have to say. So this is Amazon, and this is our original old count, and yeah, so it's quite possible to have this as a wave 4. It's got the right look and feel about it, really, hasn't it? You know. As a 1, 2, 3, 4 here, it's left the trend and so on. So that would, in this instance, this would, you know, make this move up here somewhere, and as a wave 5, and then have a, you know, correction across here before going up again, because that would give us 5 waves to the upside. If we make a new high here, that would give us 5 waves. There's also different ways to count this little incident in here as well. So there's different ways to count this. So it's a little bit unfortunate. It's not just a clean situation on this. We've got this also. I mean, this could be, you know, in a bearish market, this could be an A wave here, B wave here, and a C wave up there. And I think we've got that on the 2-day chart. So we'll have a little look at these things. So it's good to look at these, and you know, you could say, well, Pete, that's just not going to happen, is it? You know, we've got, you know, this is more like a corrective pattern or something or other. But the idea with all of these markets really is to find the consensus of the pattern for these big tech stocks, because they'll all pull each other around and all support each other. And yeah, look, I know that the earnings are way out of whack with the price and all these sorts of things, but I've learned over the years that there's nothing too high and nothing too low, and a lot of the fundamental information, be it financial or be it its place in the industry and what the industry is doing and so on and so on, they don't always pan out as well, so yeah, my job is just to look at the patterns, and try to make money out of those, and that's what we're doing, and we're long in the markets in most cases, so we're doing all the right things. So in this case here, if this market, let's just assume for a moment, this market took out the top here, well then we could cancel this market, couldn't we? We couldn't be able to call it an A, B, C at that point, It wouldn't work at that point. So then we just have to say that this is bullish. And then if it's going to be bullish, we could look at it in two ways. We could look at it in the way that we just looked at it here, with having a wave 3 here and wave 4 here, and then going up for wave 5. So that's possible. And if that is the case, then that makes it very exciting for this situation over here, when it pulls back in as a wave 2 over here, because then we get this long third wave to the upside. So that's pretty exciting. The other thing with this, though, of course, is that the other count that we have on the bullish side of this is already calling wave 1 in here. With this here. Now, if this is the case, here we're looking at most markets, having another leg down. Some of them are a little bit different than the others in terms of what they've been going through here. But this could be counted slightly differently as well, but we'll look at this on the intraday. But if it made a new high above here, which is not far to go, but it is, I can see that it is slowing down. So if we looked at it again on 2 days here, sorry to ramble on so much, but you can see how this bar here was the longest, and then this one's a little bit shorter, and then this one's shorter, and then this one's shorter as well. So it's basically, the range is getting shorter and shorter, and it was something that we were looking at really in terms of the move to the upside. So if we look at this on 1000 ticks and 100 ticks, first of all, if you're long here, the target we're looking at is 140 to take the money off the table. Yeah, it could go a little bit higher. So it had its earnings, and we've got wave 1 and 2 here, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for third, fourth. Do I put the fifth wave here? Do I put it over here for this? That type of thing is a little bit sort of iffy at this point. I could put this over here like this. The other thing with this is that all of this move up here could also just be wave 1 as well. So we'll be looking, once this tops out and drops, we'll be looking for also another long trade setup in this market. On the 100 ticks, just to nut that out a bit further. Okay, I've got it a little bit differently here. That works too. So yeah, so it's all good. It doesn't really matter. All you need to do is just take the money off the table at the 140. It can go higher. I could look at this as wave 1 here as well. It's just another way to look at it. If I pull this across here, if I use this one here, then I'll need to put this over to here somewhere. But anyway, we'll look at that in the next session. So yeah, but the main point is that we may get something like this, but we should be getting this, and this here topping out. We should get something around that in this group 1 and group 2 here. Will be in here. So the main thing is to understand with this is that and in most of these markets is that we just had a look at the 2-day chart, and we could see that the ranges are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's telling you that it's finishing off here. So taking the money off the table here is at the 140. You could probably push it a little bit higher. If I see a setup that we need to move back in, well then we will. But so with Nvidia as well, this also plays out quite nicely as a wave 4 here. So we'll just keep an eye on this as well. So this would be this particular pattern here. At the same time, we can, the bearish pattern doesn't really apply to this market. The only other count really here would be looking at this wave 1 over here for that. So it would be looking at it like this, but I don't particularly like it, actually, to tell you the truth, but we'll stay with it. I don't like it because when I'm looking for a wave 2, I'm really looking for, you know, a zigzag, a 5-3-5 structure. So when I start seeing other patterns like this that you're not quite sure what they are, well then they're probably a wave 4 if you don't know what they are. But anyway, we'll still run with it. So like the NASDAQ and the S&P and so on, we're looking for our first thing is to look for the NASDAQ here, looking for this to finish off as wave A, B and C up here. So that's what we're going to be looking for in this case, the A, the B and the C wave up here, and then pulling back. Can it turn into 5 waves, go up here and make a new high like I just mentioned with that? Yeah, sure, that's possible as well. So we need to keep an eye out for that. It's kind of good to have different counts in a way. I know that can be quite annoying, but in another way it's quite good because it helps you prepare and makes you aware of more, which has got to be good at the end of the day. So yeah, this is this one moving up. So we're going to be looking at it as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here for this. And we're going to be long here again at this point here. So we're just going to go from 1,000 ticks to 100 ticks. Okay, so I don't know how far this B wave will pull back. We're just going to have to chill on that and pick that up. So I've got some long trades here. You may have taken money off the table here, and we need to take the rest off at 450. So I think there's still some more upside. And look, the worst thing that could probably happen is it moves up to the 465 up here, which is quite possible. You know, the stochastics wants to take it up here further. Maybe you're out, maybe you're in. You know, you can move up here a little bit if you like, but I'm just going to leave that there. So we're looking, once this tops here, we'll be looking for the B wave in this, and then we're also going to look to build in long again over here for this. I mean, you know, technically this can move back. You know, if that moves up to, let's say, 460, then, you know, this market could pull back to the 50-60%. I don't think it will, but it can. So we'll just keep an eye on that. But yeah, that's kind of it. So we're just looking. I mean, the B wave could be simple or it could be complex. That's the other thing. So hopefully we get 5 waves here, 3 here, and 5 here. And then we can move into it at that point on our first impulse wave and first pullback at that point. So yeah, let's look to cover most of these trades that you're in. There's a little bit more to the upside. Meta platforms here. So this is also having wave 4 over here, and looking for wave 5 to the upside, and then a wave 1 and 2 over here for this. So that's possible. We can also look at it in the other ways as well by putting wave 1 over here. So that was over here, looking for an A and a B and a C here, but you know, it's kind of got to stop and turn. I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of supply coming up into the 320, 330 sort of area, but we'll just keep a bit of an eye on it. You know, obviously I don't particularly want to see a wave 2 as an expanded flat in this, you know, in this space, but we'll see. And you know, on the bearish side, it's, you know, it's probably not bearish, but still, we'd like to have a look at them, and that would be the bearish pattern at this point. You know, counting 5 waves down here, and then an A, B, C back up here for this. But you know, you probably start throwing stuff at me, you know. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, it's hitting supply over here, and it's showing up here as weakness. So to have one more push here, and even if it pushed up and made a new high here, we'll just see if it moved up on lower volume, then we know that, you know, it needs to correct at that point before going higher. But Anyway, another move above the top here would take away the bearish side of it. I mean, it's a bit too high to be bearish anyway, but you know, seen stranger things. But let's just go into the 1000 tick area, and yeah, this market, if you look at it, if you use the extended trading hours, then you're going to get a different intraday count on this. So yeah, so that's a bit of an issue actually, but all in all, we should be moving up a little bit higher and then having an ABC pattern. So we really need to be out here. I'll just go to the 100 ticks here, and I mean, I changed this count here. It looked right before, but see, so I had wave 3 here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3 and 4 here, which would have given me wave 5 over here, but I can see that we need to go up here further. So then I started to look around about, you know, why have I got that wrong there? So looking at that on Meta here for this, not Meta, what am I looking at? Yeah, Meta, it was Meta. Yeah, looking at Meta here, I get a slightly different count. I get this, because of the extended trading hours, first of all, I get this sharp move up here. So I've got to kind of look at that as wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 3, 4, and then 5 here for the third, the fourth, and then the third up here. So I've got the fourth here, so I still need to go up for the fifth here on this one. So that's why over here it looks a little bit weird, but I think we still need to go. I think we still need to do something like this, and then we have this here. And you know, in the bigger bullish picture, we could also look at this as wave 1 here as well. Then we come over to Netflix. So just trying to make this into the same pattern as well as a wave 4 here on the 20k tick. They're all on the bullish 20k tick chart. So in this case, this would be looking at 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 moving up here. Bit of a long shot, but it's possible. We'll keep a bit of an eye on it. But in the meantime, you know, we can look at this, you know, same thing. We can look at this on a bearish count as well. So on the 2-day chart here, it does count, as I mentioned before, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, quite nice. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, fourth, and the fifth wave down here. So it just depends how you want to look at this particular low here. But this would be, you know, based on that 5 waves here, there's a good case for this being a B wave over here. But the strong move up here kind of makes you scratch your head a little bit and thinking, well, that's not quite right. It looks quite bullish, doesn't it? You know. So we do have a bullish move for it, but it's still this one here, which is like the rest of them, which is wave 1 here with an A and a B wave here, and then a C wave down here. So we've had the A wave here, and then we're looking for the C wave here. So we know that, you know, the thing is we know that when this tops out in the NASDAQ here and pulls back, then this needs to push up here higher. So when this pushes up here higher, that's going to make that go up higher, isn't it? So if we look at that in terms of the intraday on 1000 ticks here, because currently we got this as the 61.8% as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. But because the NASDAQ and the rest of them can push up here, you know, I don't have 5 waves here just yet, by the way, you know, but we should get 5 waves. But if we get the 5 waves here, then we know that we're going to get another 5 over here. And in that case, then for this market, we're going to have to look at this as wave 1 here and 2 here and 3, 4, and 5 and jam it in that way and come in a bit closer to this old high over here for this. You with me? Yeah, because I've got to kind of drag them all in together. So the, not 200 ticks, but 100 ticks. sorry. So yeah, so I'm thinking that we've been counting from wave A here, you know, coming up here, wave A and wave B, and then counting up here. We're looking to take profit at 4:30, so we're not in this at the moment, so you should be out, but you may be in. So yeah, in this case, we still need to get this, you know, this it looks like wave 4 here, then wave 5 to move up here, and then an ABC correction. So I will be looking to get back in over here, but the thing is that this is going to be, it might not be the best trade, so I'll think about it a bit more. But if we do get the opportunity here to, you know, trade along on the B wave or something like that, we may be able to get something like 433 to, you know, 450 or something, you know, something in here, not a lot. You know, we knew that this wasn't going to be a lot either, but it's, you know, kind of got to go with it a bit. So yeah, we could end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So I'll take this away for the moment because I just want to think about that a little bit further. But yeah, we should be out of that trade, and then we come over to to Alphabet. So yeah, this is the 20k tick bullish chart here. So this would be looking at this as a wave 4 here, and then looking for wave 5 to the upside. Now it's got a long way to get up there. What we're looking for so far is an A and a B wave and a C wave here. And then possibly coming down from that point. So, you know, will it get an extra move up here and make a new high? Yeah, don't know. So we just got to take it step by step. We certainly want to be long on this pullback here for this. So this counting up here counts quite nicely as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for third, fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for third, fourth and fifth. It counts quite nicely. Like I said, you can count it in other ways as well. So we can look at it on the bearish side. We should look at it on the bearish side as well. So the bearish side would see it like this here. So an A wave, a B wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5 for third, fourth, and fifth here. So that kind of works as well there for that, you know. And yeah, I mean, it's quite high, but it's in supply. It's all quite good at that point. We can squeeze 5 waves out of this if we use this. There's an earning spike here as well, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's possible to have that bearish side of it. So we need to keep an eye on that. And on the bullish side, we can also fit it in like this as well. So a little bit jammed in here. I'm not that happy with this one, but we'll see how it plays out. But in this case, the A, the B, and the C wave here. So let's go in and have a look at this on the 1000 ticks and then the 100. So yeah, just building up from the low here would be 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 moving in here, then looking at the B wave and then the C wave here. Okay, so on the 100 ticks for this, so yeah, the after hours trading also makes this count a little bit differently as well. On Google, on this one here, on the after hour trading, it kind of pretty clear really in terms of from the low, we can count up as 1 and 2 here, and then a nice 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. So we're kind of at the top of the third, then we need the fourth and fifth wave here. So we basically want to get out here and we'll get back in over here. You could probably hold through. I just don't know how far this is going to pull down, that's all. But if we do get 5 waves up here, then we're going to get another 5 over here. So, you know, you could work it a bit higher. So in this instance here, I've got it slight. Well, it just depends on how you want to count this. But the other one would have this as, I'll just do this in 2 different ways. I'll put wave 3 here and wave 4 over here and wave 5 here. So the top's going to be, I'll just see how it plays out. But yeah, we want to be out at 130. You might be out already out of this, but we should push a little bit higher. This could also just come down here and then push up here, and it's this ABC pattern that we're looking for. They could pull back quite deep, you could probably hold through that if you wanted to, but you'll have to move the stop. But yeah, we'll do our best to where this long trade is to get back in over here if we get the 5 waves up. And all the other markets give us, most of the other markets give us the consensus that we do have 5 waves up here. That's what we're looking for. So we've done all the right things at the right time, and now we just have to get out of the market and just do nothing for a little while, just observe things. And if it plays out, if we do get the 5 waves, then our focus will be on building back in on these markets. And Microsoft is one of the stronger ones, and you can see that this is 20,000 ticks here, so you can see that it's quite close to the old high here in its own way. So it's got half a silly chance of making a new high here, and that way would call it wave 1 over here. So our old original count of wave 4 across the markets is really sort of shaping up again quite nicely with all this. And I suppose there's a bit of a lesson in this for me as well, in that changing my mind in terms of getting lost in a wave 4 emotionally and changing my mind about things. But I try to stay centered, and I try to sort of accommodate everything, and at the same time when I don't know what things are, I still try to make money on the intraday, and I feel like we've done that. I feel like we've done all the right things through most of this whole trend, actually, so I think we've done a pretty good job. So yeah, let's just see how this plays out, but this would be this count. It's a bit hard to look at this as being a bearish count, and that's why if Microsoft took out the top here, it's, Google will catch up. That's the other thing. So as a as a bearish count here, would have to have this wave B top in here. So would need to see this not take the top out here and then fold down. So this is going to be quite interesting to see what occurs at this point. So on the other side of this is the other count, where we can put wave 1 over here and look at this here as an A wave here, and then A, B, C for the B wave up here. I don't think I can take it up as a C wave unless I ignore the spike. I could do that. I could go 1, 2, 3, 4 here, or 3, then an A and a B and a C for wave 4, and then 5 waves up here. But the thing is that the NASDAQ still needs to do this. Well, an ABC pattern for the NASDAQ, and then move up. So the NASDAQ's got to do this here, pull back and then go up here if we get the 5 waves up here, which is looking quite good. So yeah, taking out the top here is quite a possibility. We'll see how it goes, because it does change things. Anyway, on the 1,000 ticks. So from this particular low here, I've been counting up as 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bit rough in there, but 3, 4, A, B, C here for this 4. Looking at this 5, which is a bit rough, I could look at this as an A and a B. I could put this over to here and look at this as an ABC pattern here, that type of thing. There's a few ways to look at it. But I've just got to kind of go with the consensus. So we had a long trade here. We moved the stop to break even. Our target was the 350, and now we need to see this top come in. But we know that if I just remove these here for a moment, so this may all need to be changed as well here, because when you think about, first of all, Microsoft had moved up much earlier than the other market, so it's in a slightly different. It's sort of out of the vibration of the other markets, but on an intraday basis, it still should follow this here. So we should see this some sort of top in here for this, and then we should be seeing some sort of ABC pattern here, and then a move up again at that point. So, you know, maybe in the bigger bullish picture, we do need to look at this as wave 1 up here, and just look at this as a wave 4 here, bring this wave 4 across over here for this. I'm not sure yet, you know, I've got to kind of keep thinking about it. I could look at it in other ways as well, but so anyway, we're not in this and we're not going to be back into it until we get sort of over here, and would need to establish some sort of situation here to get in long at that point. So we'd need the NASDAQ with us. We need that 5 waves up in the NASDAQ. And that, because this is, you know, 5 waves up in the NASDAQ is a consensus of those top 100 stocks, you know. So that's really what we're looking for at the end of the day. Okay, so Tesla's a little bit different. This is just the weekly chart here, and I just thought we'd just sort of zoom out. I mean, there's basically, you know, it's either going to be bearish or bullish. And now I know that's not very helpful, but we need to have a look at the bullish count, and we need to have a look at the bearish count, and we need to see sort of how it goes. So even in this count here, we've got this here as an A wave, a B wave here. Then we could look at this as 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 and 5 here. And then if that was the case and we've seen an impulse wave here, then we can move to the upside at that point. This move down through here at the moment is really just in 3 waves here. You know, I could look at it as a B wave, as an A, B and C here, and then look at 5 waves coming up here. And if that was the case, then we'd come down at that point. So it'd be down for the, you know, could be an A wave here or wave 1. And then an A and a B and a C wave here, and then come down. So there's a few things that can play out here. I just thought that this is quite nice as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, but it could also be an A and a B and a C wave. There is also a count that I'm not that happy about, but it's putting wave 1 and 2 over here, which I'm not that keen on that. But as I've always mentioned, is that this particular move down here is corrective. And, you know, technically we could go long, you know, above these highs here, but that's a long way away, and we certainly want to improve on that situation. But it is nice to see it sitting on this support. It's certainly some sort of balance line for all of this. And you never know with this particular company. You know, the Cybertruck may prove a success, you know, or the robots may prove a success, and the cars, you know, in the current inflationary environment may not do that well. And, you know, so there's a lot of things that can come out of the box, really. So, but in terms of patterns, we just sort of, you know, keep tracking it. So, yeah, so that's on a weekly chart. So the bearish pattern would be this here, which we've looked at before. It's not quite as a bearish pattern. We could look at it in 2 ways. We could look at it as an A wave down here, a B wave up here, and a C wave down here. We could also look at it as an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here, as an A and a B and a C wave here, and then a D wave, and then an E wave over here. That's all possible as well. And if I was going to look at this here as a move down here, as an A wave here, then the B wave, if this move continues to move up here and we don't get wave 4 here, because I would need to put wave 4 right on top there, and that would be the sort of end of it at that point, you know. But if it moves up higher, which it probably will, because of this leg here that needs to move up in the NASDAQ, so it's probably going to move up further. So that means I need to look at this as an A wave here, and then an A and a B wave here, and then a C wave for this B wave, and then a C wave down here for this, you know, for, well, even a wave 2 at that point, you know, which we've got over here on this chart for this. So this would be, well, we could look at it like this at the moment, but yeah, or the B wave over here for that. So this would leave this here as the A wave here, the B wave here, and then 5 waves up for a C wave here, and then a C wave down here for this wave 2 here. That's the general sort of pattern that we're going with at the moment. So currently we've got 3 waves up here, so I could put this as wave 4 here and look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 to come down. So I just want to see what happens with this. I think we're on the 1000 here. We might be on something else, but I'll just check. Okay, so yeah, the current move up here, we could look at this as an A wave, a B wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for the C wave. So that could be a wave 4 there. I mean, it's possible. Otherwise, we have this up here is 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and I haven't really pulled all that apart, but you know, you can come back to the wave 4 here, and then look at this pushing up here for wave 5. Now, if that pushes up there for wave 5, that's going to give us 5 waves up. So straight away, we're going to have some sort of ABC pattern here. I don't know how deep that's going to come, if it wants to cover that gap or not. And then we're going to push up again. So it can take us up there as an ABC up here. But because of this other move coming down here, I've got it as a wave 3 here, so that would be an ABC. So that means that this top over here can be wave 3 here. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So anyway, we looked at taking some profit here and then the rest of it here. So you should be out, but you maybe still be in. But the next thing that we're going to do is look to be long over here after this ABC pattern here, if all that pans out with the NASDAQ and the S&P and all of that sort of stuff. So if we get 5 waves here, then we can remove this wave, alternative wave 4, and that would leave this down here as a B wave at that point because it's in 3 waves. And if it's a B wave here, then it's highly likely we're going to get 5 waves up here with 1 here and 2 here, and 3 and 4 and 5 going further up, which would be, you know, a B wave up here. We see C wave up here. I should have put that in 1 degree smaller actually. So I'm just going to remove that actually. So this wave 2 here, and this and this and this, and I'll just get the right, I grab that, yeah, 3. I just have to extend it up, and 5 up here, so we don't want this 5. Be this one of this one, and it would make this one here either wave A or wave 1. So if we get a push up there, it's going to be either wave 1 or wave A, and that means we can buy the pullback based on those 5 waves, and hopefully we get a simple 5, 3, 5 structure, and then we can move back in again. Okay, so that's it for the markets. So I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry for such a long video. Cheers.